That's our weekend that we're doing our festival. Same
Hell
weekend.
yeah.
Really? We should do just for shits and giggles, I might video call you that day
No,
at the
yeah,
festival just to
You
yeah,
should. You
I think
should.
that'd be fun.
because because
Yeah,
because we won't be busy at all.
yeah,
Kristen
right.
won't be busy. No. Hi there, it's Christine Larock, and I'm the founder of Coming Home Festival. And this is another episode of the Sit Down Podcast.
All right. Welcome everybody. This week we have the pleasure of meeting another festival organizer out of Ontario. She was we got connected through another mutual festival organizer, and I had many conversations with her and invited her to come on because I truly believe in the passion of what she has with her festival and what the intent is with it. So I thought it would be very exciting and fun to have her come on, and she can maybe spread the word in our Saskatchewan land here on this side of the nation. So let's welcome her Mark with a little round of applause. I'm
Well,
talking like there's a room full of people here, and it's just me and Mark here.
yeah,
So Candace or
And
Carissa,
Chris,
Chloe,
Christine. So
Carol,
Christine.
Carol.
for the viewers, you guys, we got this running joke. I have yet to get her name accurate. It's like I keep calling her Candace or Carissa or Christine, but her name is
Christine.
Christine.
Yes.
But yes,
Great.
welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this week. It is a true honor. When we did speak a few weeks ago, just everything you were telling me about your festival, just it's a lot of similarities in what Mark and I are trying to do with ours here. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining us, and I really want to get into it about what the festival is, what it represents, all of the above. So
So let's
um,
let's start with when did it start and why?
Um, I was bored one day and I thought, oh, why not have a festival? Actually, it started we're heading into our third year. So in 2022, I was just really called, I was feeling called to create an event, and it was really celebrating freedom. The world was going through a little bit of mayhem at the time. And so I was, we were kind of feeling a little bit left out, that because, we weren't allowed to go to festivals based on a decision that was made. And so it was like, we just wanted to have a festival that celebrated freedom and sovereignty, where everybody was welcome, regardless of your views. And it was so needed. And a lot of people really felt safe in that community back then. And it was a time where musicians and artisans, holistic practitioners found themselves, we were all on lockdown. They weren't able to make money. And I just thought, that's not right. So I thought, you know what? I know enough people who, I'm a holistic practitioner as well. And I know so many people who have these beautiful gifts. And I thought initially it started where I thought it would just be a group of friends getting together, and let's just rebel. Let's just have a festival anyway. And it was the bomb. It was amazing. And I knew the community knew that it was something that had to continue. So that was how we were born.
Very cool. So where did you find your first artists? Do you have a connection to the music community or?
Well, other than dating a musician for a really long time, like I had really no idea how to book a band. I had no idea. It was all through trial and error. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people in my circle that are musicians, but I wanted to go outside of that. So it was, I was reaching out to agencies or tapping them on, Instagram or whatever. And it was really fascinating. And last year we had so many bands that had, even after just 1 year, had heard about the festival and had approached us and said, hey, I heard about your festival. And so now only 3 years in, I don't have to search. I have so many people, we're turning down people all the time, which is, I'm humbled and I'm still astonished. Like, how did you hear about our festival? So, it's pretty cool. It's been a really cool process.
It's also frustrating that you have to put or turn people down. I know
Oh my
we've
God.
done that.
Well, you
We've
know
done
what?
it.
Yeah, and it's like I've always been, my family's been really we love music. We absolutely love music. And my dad was always into country, and we'd be like, "Oh, Dad," and I love heavy music. And as I've gotten older, I love so many different genres of music. So it's really interesting, and this is something that's happened with Coming Home Festival. The first year really felt like a big party for me. I remember at one point thinking, this is amazing. And it's like we had a hip cover band, because I'm like, you can't have a Canadian festival. I'm like, we need to have a hip cover band, right? And, again, some friends. But it was such a mix of different music. It was like, but it was kind of cool that it was like that, right? It was kind of cool that we had a little bit of everything. And then last year, what I find going into year 3, I've really gotten more clear on the type of music that I want to have. And like when you're saying, it is a shame to turn people down, because there's amazing artists out there. And although I can't have them all, like, because now we've gotten a little bit clearer. So like our vision has really shifted from the first year. So it's really allowed us to get clear, like, what do we want to do? What does this look like? And because some of the bands, even though they're great, they don't necessarily go with what we're trying to do, what we're trying to facilitate. Like, we've really evolved. So since the first year, the vision for Coming Home Festival, it's really evolved. And our primary focus is raising the collective consciousness through celebration of music and connection with nature and with self. So it's kind of got a more spiritual context to it. So for me, it's like I now see myself not only as a festival organizer, but somebody said to me, you are a passionate community builder, and you're planting seeds of personal growth and collective expansion, and it alchemizes the energetic soils of, potential thriving, abundant, and kindred communities. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. I like that, because
It's quite the title.
But it's like, but really at the end of the day, I'm a community builder. I love music and supporting the arts, and we do. So it's like, it's kind of hard to, basically what I'm trying to say at the end of the day is you have this healing that goes on during the day, because the festival is, it's really an amalgamation of a lot of things. And the world needs a lot of healing right now, right? Mental health is at an all-time low, and a lot of people don't have community. And what does that look like for our community? So providing that space. So we have holistic practitioners, and we have really cool workshops. Some are fun, some are, educational. We've got artisans, and we have healthy food vendors. It's not often you can go to a music festival and have healthy food. It's like, okay, so same thing. When you get clear, you're like, okay, so if we're focusing on health, we definitely want to have healthy food vendors. And we have a morning ritual with yoga and chant and West African drumming, and we're really selective, even our workshops, the type of workshops, but the music kind of needs to jive with that. So we do have some rock. Some of the bands that we've had have been a little bit heavier, that some people liked that contrast, where it's like, but it's like, we definitely want to move your bodies and things like that, because yoga and wellness festivals are a dime a dozen, right? And I'm not knocking them. I love them. I go to them, but we're almost kind of this blend of like a music festival and that. So that's what I think kind of makes us unique. And it took us maybe 3 years to get really clear on that vision.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So for the location of the actual festival,
Yeah.
how did you figure out like where you wanted to host this?
Mm-hmm. Well, initially I had no idea. And so I'm very fortunate. And even when the world was on lockdown, we were meeting and having West African drumming. I have a question. Have either of you guys tried West African drumming with a djembe?
I haven't, like, been a part of it, but I have witnessed it
Yeah.
a couple times. Yes, but I have never like participated in it.
Yeah.
You must. How about you, Mark?
Yeah, no, I've seen it, but
Yeah.
never
It makes you
never
want to
really,
move, right?
yeah, not really active. Just you walk by and you change your step, but
Yeah, well, it's addicting. It's addicting. And so there was a beautiful couple who have this property. It's in Amaranth. Um, that's not people in Saskatchewan, people in Ontario have a hard time going, where the hell's Amaranth? It's a beautiful little rural community. It's near a place called Orangeville. It's probably, I don't know, 45 minutes, let me think, northwest of Toronto. So people will recognize Toronto. But the land is glorious. So like I said, we were going to drumming circles there, and every time I would go, it was nighttime. So I had no idea what this like, and this land is an oasis. And I think they have 100 acres. And it was one of the people in the circle. They said, "Why don't you ask?" So the landowners' names are Julie and Ralph Baumlisberger, and they've been on this property for, I'm going to forget how many years, 30 some, or like a long time. They're farmers. And I think 30 some odd acres are their homestead. And, she used to be in gardening tours. So she just takes utmost pride. She's got the stage is at the bottom of a hill. So it creates this amazing amphitheater. And so the seating's awesome. And there's a cedar forest with a river there as well. I'm telling you, it's worth the price of admission. So when I saw the land and they took me on a tour, it's really interesting. I just actually started it. It's called, I think I was telling you guys about this earlier, a Monday music series on Instagram. So people can get to know the artists, like who are these artists? And we've all been to concerts and festivals, and I want to know, who are these people? Like everybody just has this disconnect, and it's like they're people like just like us. Like, what's your story? What's your jam? How did you get into this? And what inspires you? What lights you up, right? And the very first episode I did, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I actually interviewed Julie first, one of the homeowners, because I thought it was really important for people to know, where are we located? And I've been to lots of festivals in fields and things like that, and they're awesome. They're great. Like, I love it. But this has just got, again, it's somebody's house, somebody's property. And not that people are using, the house, but we've been pretty lucky the past few years. After the festival is over, other than the odd item being left behind, sometimes you get some interesting. You're going, what is this? Well, you guys know.
yeah. Do I really want to touch
Yeah.
this?
But honestly, you look at the grounds and you go, did we just have a festival here like 2 days
Yeah.
ago? Or it's just it's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
The way you're talking about it, and from the few pictures that I've seen, it reminds me of a combination of Dog Patch and Doyle Fest.
Yeah,
So
I had
the
similar thought. But...
yeah, so the last version of Doyle Fest was in it's a, what is it, regional park?
I believe so, yes.
And it has a creek and it has a bridge from where you
Beautiful.
park to where you go, and it's up on a hill, and right up on the hill is a beautiful view. So that, and then Dog Patch is in Mark's backyard, literally. So a combination of those two, that sounds a lot like what you do.
Even the Coming Home Festival stage, there's similarities there with Dog Patch. I mean, Dog Patch's stage is maybe a little bit more grander than that one, but there are similarities.
Yeah,
there is what I was thinking. As well too.
It's funny we talk about that, and I've talked with Mark. Actually, I think he was the one that made the connection, and we actually have a promo going on with them right now this month.
Oh, beauty.
We are in 2 different provinces, but we're doing a giveaway, because festival people love to travel, and they will travel for, an awesome festival. And they're amazing. I love them. And actually one of our artists, so Andy of Black Suit Devil, they're playing both festivals this year. And that's really exciting. He actually just won, what was it called? They were at the International Portuguese Music Awards, and they just won. So Andy has he's amazing. So he's been with us right from the get-go. And I said, I kind of coined him our festival mascot because he's been so pivotal in, even getting us more exposure and introducing us to different people and things like that. So he has 2 bands. And actually last year we did have the Blues Emergency play. So that's his when he plays with a few other guys, and they just won actually best rock performance for 2024, and it was a big deal. Like I'm so stoked for them. And so anyway, yeah, Andy Durago is pretty amazing. So they're playing Black Suit Devil. They're playing our festival again this year, and they're playing Dog Patch too. So
excellent.
And did you say Portuguese?
It's the International Portuguese Music Awards. So for the song Love Revolution, they won Best Rock Performance for 2024. Yeah. And then Andy's got, they have a couple of singles coming up, Passage and Buried in You. So that they've got 2 singles. They have The Eternal Sleep is their new album they're going to be launching soon. But he's got this like, those songs are a little heavier, say even like the Love Revolution, when he plays with Blues Emergency there, it's a little bit heavier. But the very first time I heard Andy, this was kind of funny how this came about. You're asking me how I book bands, and so I started looking at other festivals. Well, who did they have and who were they good? And then on Instagram, I started just following like different bands and things like that. And this one guy that they had, this was Andy. I thought, wow, I like his sound. His voice is really kind of raspy and kind of like a Ray LaMontagne, like he had that kind of a, and I'm like, oh, I like this guy. And again, he was singing about a lot of things that, he's his lyrics are very conscious as to what, different things that are going on in the world. And so that really struck a chord with me. And so he's in the back of my mind. I got a hold of, and I'm going to plug, I guess, Gussapalooza. I don't know if you guys have heard of them out in Saskatchewan, but they promote local indie bands. And so what they do is they're amazing. And Russ, the one fella, and this is what I love. See, here we are collaborating, and it's this festivals helping festivals. And I love that. And same thing with Dog Patch. And we just ran a contest with Go North. But Russ Robson, he's amazing. And I contacted them and they said, you know what, if you want a really great artist, they named a couple and they said, you got to get a hold of Andy Durago, Black Suit Devil. And I went, that's really funny because of all the bands that I was checking out, I said there was just something about his sound. So again, that was something that I did, was I just kind of thought, okay, what's that old saying? Like if there's somebody who is if you're interested in something, follow the people who've already done it. And if they're successful, like they can be your silent mentor, right?
Yeah.
So, and
yeah, it's that
especially
whole, yeah.
So we'll see him at Dog Patch. So maybe we can tackle him there and
you must. And
get him
his
on
partner,
a podcast.
We should. Have you had an opportunity to attend Dog Patch at all?
No, I would love to though, because, and it's funny when I was chatting with Mark, we were like, yeah, we're on each other's guest list. It's like, yeah, we just need to make it happen, Never been to Saskatchewan, to be quite honest. Nope.
Oh, interesting.
I've never been to Ontario, so there's that.
There you go.
That's not true.
On the list.
That's not true. I slept on Toronto Airport.
So actually,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, fun little fact is Mark is actually not originally from Saskatchewan either. So Mark is originally from Holland. And he moved here, what was it like?
That's the reason why I slept in Toronto.
Yeah, there you go. It was on your flight in like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
That was the last time you went through. But yeah, that was just that Mark isn't from Saskatchewan.
Okay, well, if you guys end up, I know you may or may not know your dates yet. I'm not going to reveal anything, but if it happens to be on a different weekend, your names are on the list. My gift. Yeah.
Well, we can reveal it because we were actually discussing it on last week's episode too. I think we even got in a little argument on that episode too.
Are we
But
doing this again?
yeah, but for the viewers at home, this year's Moose Fest Festival, the weekend of August 9-10, is going to be the same weekend that the Coming Home Festival is
Darn.
in Ontario. So
Let's do a video call. I think you guys mentioned that we should totally do that and just be
I-
like, hey,
Yeah.
how's it
I-
going there?
I agree. I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna try and like screen record it as
Yeah.
we're doing it. I think
Yeah.
That'd be
that could be
fun.
something fun. But you actually, I'm gonna go back a little bit here because you mentioned that you've been hosting these things on Monday evenings where
Yes.
you're like getting to know the artists.
Mondays at noon.
I think it's a brilliant idea, and
So
because we haven't made any announcements yet, that could be a way how we make our announcements is we can get our artists to act on a live, an Instagram live.
So that's what you do on Instagram Live?
Yeah. Go
Okay.
back and like I said, I've only done 2. The first one was interviewing Julie, and then I so every Monday at noon I sent it out to the artists, and they were like, because they're just dying to tell, they just want people, and they can't even believe it's like, oh my god, that's amazing, thank you. Because usually I think people have festivals and then, but it's like they don't really, they get their online promo, but it's like, no, come online. And it's kind of fun for me to get to know them beforehand as well. I hear their music and I think they're awesome, but people engage. And then I think the first week I offered like a promo code for anybody buying tickets kind of thing. And yeah, it's just fun. Yeah, have some fun with it. We
Yep.
work hard at what we do, so we might as well have some fun along the way, right?
Oh yeah. Joel and
Yeah.
I have this understanding that we're doing this because we want to have fun.
Yes.
And as soon as it becomes a chore and we are dreading the day, and we'll just pull the plug.
That's the
and
best
don't do
one.
it.
We can just end it.
Yeah.
And so
100%.
like, yeah.
We don't owe anything to anybody, so it's just him and me. So
Yeah.
And how long have you guys been doing your festival for?
this will be year 4.
Okay, so you're a year ahead of us then. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the first year. Can I do a Confessions 101?
Yeah,
100%.
please do.
Yes, please give us the dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, just do it. The first year, and I'm pretty like you guys probably don't know about human design. I'm a manifestor, and just people's brains work a certain way, right? I'm an organizer, I get it. And so the first year when I did it, I remember the Friday, and I'm thinking, I don't know, this isn't fun, like, because shit was going down, and not that anything even went that bad. And I had so many people come up to me on the weekend and going, oh my god, like this is not your first year. Like, people who've gone to festivals are like, this is so well organized, and I'm like, you have no idea, like you have no idea what's going on up here and what I'm dealing with, and all these kind of little mini fires you're putting out. And then it was interesting because Friday night, because I thought, I'm doing this because I want to have fun. I'm not having fun. Everybody else is having fun, and I'm not having fun. And again, in the whole grand scheme of things, shit wasn't really going wrong. It was all, it's a festival. So I remember waking up the next morning, and my back was out, and I just thought, oh boy, here we go. And honest to goodness, because of the kind of people that we had at the festival, we had a lot of people who did body work, who were doing energy work and things like that. And this one guy worked on me for about an hour. It was a lot of the mental, it's a big buildup, and you do all of this. And I think and honest to goodness, after some shifts, boy, the rest of the weekend was I was on a completely different level, and I enjoyed it. And I still had a lot of things, people to manage and questions to answer and things like that. But it was the first year I was like, I don't know, just for one night. And then my body was like, after that, yeah, I can do this. It was so, not gonna lie, it's not all rainbows and roses. And I think we were talking about this, Joel, as organizers, and any festival organizer I've spoken with, there's a trend in this world right now, I think, of everybody's last minute. It's a really interesting, we're all instant, there's so many things. I'm such a podcast geek, and I was listening to one earlier today, and we're all so sidetracked so quickly with, we've got all this information at our fingertips, right? And people are like, oh yeah, I want to go to that festival. And then as a festival organizer, we have a lot of things that we have to pay for and trying to plan, and we want to create. I know you're the same, because we've had these chats. We are so passionate about creating the best guest experience and band experience, like everybody. We want this just to be, you know, a dynamic experience for everybody. And sometimes it can be really stressful because you still have no idea how many people are coming to your event. You get some people who buy their tickets, right? But then it's like all at the last minute is like, how do we change this?
Absolutely.
Yep.
It's I find it's not even like that with just festivals. Like even here in Saskatchewan, you know, at like regular weekend shows, or you know, a bigger venue like the maybe not SaskTel Center, but like a Coors event show or something like that. Somebody's trying to put on a show there, and people, I truly do not understand the way that brainwave works. Is they, like you said, they wait until the last second. So you're trying to plan for a show. Well, are you planning for 100 people, 50 people, 600 people?
I know.
Like, and you really don't know until the event is over how many people were actually there. And it's like, and I'm calling you viewers out there, like if you're interested in going to a show, just get the ticket. It's like a $15-20 ticket. Like, I constantly hear, oh well, we're gonna wait and see what's going on. Well, we're telling you right now that this is going on. So why are you waiting until the very last second, cluttering up the door when people are trying to get in to purchase the tickets? Like, I don't understand it.
It seems like, well, this music thing sounds fun, but what if something more fun comes along?
I think that's what it is. You know what it is? It's like the dating. Okay, I'm going to compare it to a dating site. Okay. From a person who was single for a long time, I'm not anymore, but honest to goodness, that's an issue with dating sites too. It's our society. And I know this is kind of a whole off topic, but it is kind of related. But it's like people are on there and you hear the same thing from people over and over again. Well, you know, yeah, I went on a couple of dates with this person and then they're kind of random. Well, why? Because they're still on there because they're waiting for they're going to see if there's something better over here, right?
Yeah.
But it is the same. And because I think it's just a sign of the times, unfortunately, with we just have all this information at our fingertips. We've got how many different social media sites, and everything's just coming at us. And there's always something going on. Like, you just can't keep on top of it. And hey, I am so thankful that there's just so much to do. And I know last year was a really interesting year because, of course, after being on lockdown last year, everybody and their brother came out of the woodwork. Everybody, even people who didn't have things before, everybody's like, oh my God, we can get together again. Let's have something. Yeah. So the competition last year was like maxed out. And, you know, I think that, again, the people who are really passionate about it, you know, like we're still here like 3-4 years in, and it's like, we're in this, like we're invested in this. There's a driving force behind what we do and why we're doing it. So
definitely,
we'll go broke doing it, but whatever.
Well, and it's the truth is, it isn't about like, I mean, you definitely want to cover your costs for sure, so you're not going out of pocket, but it's not like we're not in it to make thousands of dollars or nothing. And as a nonprofit organization, if it did happen, let's say we did make $5,000 one year, that money just goes back into the funds to then add something to the show or to the effect, right? We get a lot of comments like, oh, well, it'd be cool if you did this or had this. And well, yeah, I would agree with you 100%, but we can't plan for that if you're waiting to the door to buy tickets.
I know, it really is, like, it's frustrating. I guess people don't know. And like, I wouldn't think about that. I'm kind of a planner, so I usually like to be able to say, like, my partner and I, we've always got tickets to a show, and this weekend and then that weekend, and you know,
agreed.
But I think in the summertime, maybe it's weather related too. Not only is it like the Tinder available, you know, what's the next best thing, but it's also, well, what's the weather going to be like that weekend? But it's like, come, like I honest to God, last year, I wish I should share the video with you, but our social media gal from last year, the best video, I think one of my favorite videos, she did this fun little meme and it was her wearing our Coming Home Festival t-shirt. And so like she had, you know, dancing. And so she had like whatever her outfit was. And then, but then she did one with like rain boots and a
An umbrella.
And then she was still dancing. And it's like, because honest to God, hey, think about, you know, how many shows you've been at. I've been at many that were raining, and it's kind of cool. It just it's just, as long as it's not cold.
Yeah.
You know,
It's the whole experience of it, and it's what adds to making it most memorable.
Yeah.
Like, oh, remember that festival we went to and it was like raining, but it continued on and everyone had a great time. And
I remember the first year we went outside, you were really worried about rain.
I was.
You were like, well, maybe we should get tents. And I'm like, no, just get wet.
Yes.
Like as long as there's no lightning, we can keep the stage up and no wind, you'll be fine.
Right.
Yeah.
You just get wet.
One thing, the gear is covered.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
One thing that I don't think I'll ever forget is our very first one at the hall. Not a clue in hell of how it was going to turn out or what was going on. And there was a group from another rural community that showed up, and they had all gotten these inflatable moose antlers that they bought on eBay or whatever. There was like a whole swarm of people that walked in with all these moose antlers. We were just like, we didn't even know who they were. We were just like, hell yeah, let's go. It was just, I'll never forget that, man. That should be
and then the beach balls that you got.
Yeah,
that was great. We should get more of those for.
We could. Yeah, just stuff like that. Those are the people that really make an event like these the most fun, the most memorable. Yes, the music is great and the artists have like 90% to do with the atmosphere and the environment. But I would say that it's the festival goers. Like that's why we're doing it. That whole community of fans.
Everybody's there for one reason, and it's to have a good time and listen to good music.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters.
Yeah, it is. Agreed. You know what? In this world, that's what matters. Like right now, everybody's looking at how can we be different? It's us versus them, or there. You think this? No, it's not. Everybody's after everybody, and it's like enough, guys. Like, and that's what I love about music. That it does. It brings people together. You don't need words. Nobody has to sit and even talk. You know, it's just. It creates this beautiful energy, right? And it's funny because, Joel, you were saying about the festival goers, and my favorite thing is like no holds barred. Like just like when you see somebody who's on a stage, when I was a kid, I was always envious of musicians because they could just be and dress however they wanted, anything. And that was when I was a kid, but like now anything really goes, right? Like it's kind of crazy. And, we thought about we actually really seriously talked about having like a costume contest because, look at Burning Man and stuff like that, where they wear these really elaborate things, but we didn't want to make it where people would feel if people couldn't afford to or kind of felt obligated. It's like, no, but I love it. Like you see people and they look like a friggin' wizard or a fairy. Like that makeup, it's just and some people do it, and then some people are just in their duds, like and they're just not down to do it. But it's I love it. It's almost like you have different beings from like different planets almost who are there. But when you talk about community, and I think that this is something that's really and again, I'm not gonna lie, like festivals the first couple of years don't make money, or you just don't. And I remember questioning, going like, why am I doing this? What am I doing this for? Right. And and I took it really seriously because I took an events management course last year because I really so passionate about it. I want to learn more about it, and graduated with honors, by the way. But there's so much, there's just so much to learn. Thanks. But honest, it was a lot of work, and there's so many different facets. There's so many different things to learn about organizing a festival. But at the end of the day, I remember the first year when I walked away going, okay, what can I change? What can we make, do different? And your motivator's got to be really, if you're doing it to make money, then that vibe goes out to the public, and it's even if you don't say those words, right? Do you know what I mean? But it's
Yep.
like when you have that intention to just, because you love it and you want to create this beautiful experience. And when I say cultivate community, I truly mean that. And that's something that has really come in really true for me. So I remember the first year, the people who met there, and I had so many people say, Coming Home Festival is really different because it's actually like a family. Like it's there, the people would have these soulful conversations, or they would just, you felt so supported when you were there. And I remember there was a girl who came who divulged that she had had some traumas, in her life, because she had actually asked if she could bring like a dog again. And so again, we're like, initially our policy is not to allow dogs, but it's like, you know what, this person has had some issues in her past, and so she's asked, so what, she brings this dog. And I remember chatting with her, and we helped create that sacred, that safe space for her. And that's what we're about. And it's like there's been romantic relationships that have started from people who've met at Coming Home. There's been business partnerships, there's been friendships, there's been, like, we call them our soul family, like our soul tribe, like, and that's what it's created. Like, even with Julie and Ralph, they are amazing people, and they're a hub of, they're just so smart. There's these beautiful, smart people who care about the community. They have all these things. And so this year we actually have a fun thing. We're going to have somebody connected with me. When you're in flow, these things just happen. So I've had people reach out to me, and one fella said, I'll give him a plug. What's it called? Spa Social, I think it's called. So he has a spa, like a sauna that's on wheels. And then he's also going to bring some farmers troughs and fill them with ice. So it's going to be like the hot and cold plunges,
Right.
and it's going to be really cool with like a yurt wall and a fire, and like, anyway, we have a couple of cool things like that. And so again, it's about incorporating health. And but what I was going to say about Julie and Ralph, since Coming Home, they've met different people. We have these amazing breath work workshops, and all sorts of cool workshops. But now they do, aside from Coming Home, they have these community events where they'll have speakers on various topics, or music. And so now they've connected with people they've met at Coming Home, and again, they're cultivating community, right? So, and this is happening all over. And so, and I think it's even happening whether you know it or not. So even though these are in the forefront, same thing with you guys, like how many people met at your festival, and then, these kindred connections, right? So it's not just about going, yeah, these guys are amazing, like they're an amazing band, and I had such a great time.
Exactly. It goes so deep. It's so much more than just a quote unquote concert. It's so much more than that.
Yep.
And like, so much so it's hard to explain unless you're physically there and a part of it. Like you wouldn't understand. But even for somebody who is like reluctant to or want to understand, I would truly recommend those are the ones that should be coming out, because they're not going to regret it.
But there are also people that are just there for the music, and that's fine too. Like if you just
totally
show up with a camping chair, you just, fold it out, sit there and listen.
Yes, but even that is it's part of it.
Yeah. It's
like, I don't know anybody who's ever went to a live show and did not communicate with somebody else or have some type of interaction with anybody else for the positive. I wouldn't be able to name one.
No, me neither, but that's because they didn't talk to anyone.
Yeah, I suppose. Smart ass. You're right, but I hate to admit it, but you're actually right on that.
But it is true, right? And
well, and it's even us, sorry, but it's even like us getting in touch with one another. It's all because of, like, you're way out there on the other side of Canada.
I know.
And because of our passion and our love for it, and the scene, the love for the scene and what's really going on here, that's how much of a reach this has. And it's not just about having our festival in Bellevue, Saskatchewan, population 100 people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're
Yeah,
way over there.
I
And
know.
because of this is how we got connected. I think it's the most beautiful thing on the face of this earth, that it's just, the reach is endless.
Mhm.
I love that.
Very well put. Very well. I was going to say, ding, 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 ding. Get that next prize. No, but it's
It's
true. It's
Yeah.
like we wouldn't be communicating, and the thing is, people don't like it's I guess it's like anything. People don't know what it's like unless you're organizing a festival. And it's like we're not looking for some award or whatever, but it's just like even a band or an artist, or I don't know, anybody who has a unique job. People don't quite understand unless you've been there, unless you walked a mile in their shoes, kind of thing. So that's what I think is so beautiful. And you know, anybody I've reached out to, they've been more than gracious and to share the trials and tribulations. And it's like, you know, and anybody I've talked to has just been more than gracious to share their experience. You know, well, how long have you been doing it, and what did you find worked and what didn't work, and
absolutely.
you know what I mean. And
We're not competing.
we're not.
That's
No.
And even though we're on the same weekend, we're in different, like music, we're living in a big place, right? Like,
Yeah.
and it's just, yeah, I love it. And I love that we can promote one another, and because there is such a space for that, right?
100%.
Yep.
And in today's society with new technology, like, it's just amazing to me how we are able to do this. And yes, on the no competing thing, I just to fill you in, there's so many festivals in this province too. And our first year, there was another, I guess, relatively big music festival that landed on the same day as ours.
Mhm.
Unbeknownst to us, we had no idea who or what this festival was until we were actually reaching out to bands, trying to book bands, and they're like, "No, we're doing this festival." But there was a little, I guess, not a vibe, but I just, for lack of better wording, the word on the street was that we were in competition with this
Oh
other
yeah.
festival,
Yeah.
right? And we knew that was not true, and those other organizers knew that that wasn't true. And just to settle the score, like, we had those people on the program as well to help promote their event, even though it was on the same weekend as ours.
And they came here.
And they came all the way
Yeah.
to Bellevue here to
I
come
love
hang
it.
out with us. And it was
Yeah.
like, what I love about that is it's just proving it. It's the proof of it.
Mhm.
Like, hey, we're not competing with one another, even though you guys seem to think that or are saying that. Like, here, we're just show you that that's just not accurate.
And
And
even our first year was on the same date as Jazz Fest in Saskatoon, which is
Yeah.
a huge festival.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter because Jazz Fest has different artists than us.
yeah,
So people showed up for us because they didn't like what they were seeing at Jazz Fest. So it's like it's to each their own.
yeah,
And that's what's
for sure.
amazing when you get really, again, like clear. I know for us, there's a big festival, Boots and Hearts, and it's like a country
Oh yeah.
festival.
Yeah.
It's like jam packed, and it's the same weekend as our festival. But it's like, especially in the summertime, you can't pick a weekend where nothing else is going
No,
on.
no.
You just pick a
Exactly.
weekend and you just say, this is it, you know, we're going for it, right? But
Yep.
this year we have let me think, we've got 8 bands. So we're a 3-day, I guess we coin ourselves a music wellness festival. And like it's on the Friday, like our gates open at 11 on Friday. We have a really cool, like an opening ceremony. And then we have 3 artists. So I think we have 3 artists each day. And so usually the artists will start around 6 p.m. And this year we thought that we would do something kind of fun. So the last 2 years, we have camping on all 3 nights. Again, a forest camping, and we've got it's a family event. So we don't sell alcohol at our event, but and like I said, we have it's all ages really. And people can bring campers, or they can camp in the forest, which is I, I remember I just sidetrack here, but when I remember the first year walking into the forest when people's tents started going in there, and it was like a city. and just seeing it and seeing, I'm like, oh shit, look what they did. That's freaking cool. And these other people like built this like fortress, like of sticks and stuff all around there. And it was just like, again, like community, right? It was so
Yes.
cool. And there was young girls who were camping, and people that were just so helpful with them and helping put their tents up and things like that. And you hear the music, and then when they start doing sound check, you're like, game on, like this
Yes.
is
Yep.
happening, right? And but this summer we're doing something a little different. So instead of having camping for 3 nights, we're having camping Friday and Saturday for our guests. It felt like for us, because we are a spiritual bunch, we were like, okay, we're gonna have this really cool ceremony to open. But then the last 2 years, it felt like some people would go home on Sunday night, some people would go home Monday morning, and it just it didn't close. It didn't get to kind of come to culminate into anything. So we're going to have artists are going to start at noon on the Sunday, and again, we're going to have a really cool ceremony to close, right? And it's going to feel great. But we're closing the gates at 7:30 to the general public, and we're going to have a volunteer appreciation event. So we probably have about at least 50 volunteers. So we're going to stay, and we've got a couple of really cool things kind of planned for them. So it's going to just be a time because, and this is another thing that people don't understand, volunteers work freaking hard. And especially our leads, like I have leads, in each of the areas, and they're already working with me. They're getting all the volunteer coordinator and the workshop lead, and like, it's a lot of work. And these people, I think they give us about a dozen hours, maybe 4 hours a day. It's a lot of work.
Absolutely.
And
Yep.
they get a t-shirt, they get some food, they get these fun little, things. But Sunday night is just for them and for us. And so we're going to kind of sit around. And honestly, my favorite part, one of my favorite parts, there's many, but after the bands are done, I think the bands usually end around 10 or 10:30. We have a nightside acoustic jam. So we have this kick-ass fire, and so some of the artists, they hang out, they stay all weekend, a lot of them. And we have a pretty musical community, and people bring whatever, whether it's drums, guitar, didge, like you name it. People are bringing all their fun toys, little ukuleles,
Yes.
they're bringing it all. And it's a community jam out under the stars, and honest to goodness, that's my favorite.
I know out here, a lot of the festivals, they take like festival applications where artists would like submit a song or two, a video performance of them, which is how those festivals basically filter through and decide who they want to hire to come and perform. Mark and I, we don't do that for ours. We've got our own system in place, but I am curious on how, like, this being your third year going in, for booking the acts this year, how did you decide which 8 groups that you wanted?
There were a couple that I knew that I wanted. We've got a couple, I'm going to say repeat offenders. I think we've got like 2 or 3, just because we're like, yeah, they need to come back. And we always send out a questionnaire out every year to just say, hey, like, with a lot of questions, who did you guys like, and who would you like to see back, kind of thing. But honestly, people were emailing me. I had to put an auto response on my email because it got to the point where, because I wanted to answer everybody back, and I didn't have the time. So it would be like, once we had all of our acts, I had to just say, we're so thankful. We have been overwhelmed by people applying, and our acts are full for this year. And I think what I'll do next year is I might create a portal for people to do that. And honestly, even though I do run Coming Home Festival, so my last name is Larock, so it's actually not spelled the way, it's like LA and then rock, because I'm like, that's just so fitting because I'm into like the music. And but anyway, I Coming Home Festival is run through Larock Productions, and Larock Productions again is all about music. And so we were doing like house concerts and artisan markets, but usually music was always a component of it. And I'm looking at doing perhaps some other events as well where we have music. So even though, like I was saying, how the vision's kind of shifted, and so the music, the genre of the music is geared toward like the healing and things like that, I still love like the heavy music. So I'm thinking, oh, I might have to plan something, maybe just even a 1-day event or something where we can have a different genre of music. And at a different, my partner's parents, they have a nice piece of land that we could probably have something on their property. So, but once you're into it, because like I said, when you're saying, you know, how does it feel like you have to turn these people down, because it's so hard, because it's like, I would totally go see them. I want to see them. Right. And I'm sure, you know, some of them I will go see, but it's like, because they now don't necessarily fit this, you know,
Yep.
it just doesn't feel in sync. So anyway, yeah, a separate event, maybe in the not too distant future. So, but yeah, but
Oh,
that'll be under
awesome.
Larock Productions, and somehow I'll figure, maybe I'll tie in a coming home theme or something like that. But yeah,
Right on.
it's been a fun time.
Yeah, I know there was another festival here that did, I forget what they called it, like Chesterfest. They did throughout the year. They had like
Yes,
not mini festivals. They were not showcases either, but they were more like pop-up festivals almost, where
I
they
like
had
that
one or two
idea.
artists, and
Yes,
they were just jamming, and people could donate to
I like that idea.
Chesterfest.
Yeah.
That
And
was
that's probably what I would do. Like, and that's what the idea, we had probably half a dozen house concerts and things like that,
right.
as well. And, you know, there was a thing that, I don't know if it's out west, but they have this really cool idea, and it's in bigger cities and things like that, where they have cool old warehouses or lofts or things like that, where
Yep.
you'll pay and you'll buy a ticket and then you'll go, but you don't know who the artist is. And you just know where the area is. And then, of course, they usually have some super cool, you know, and that was something that kind of started to morph here as well. But then I started, when I got into the festival planning, like, it's, for me, it's full-time gig. Like, it's me and then my team, of course. But that's something that I would kind of like to do. I remember hopping on a bus once and going to paying to see music. I just knew, again, music lovers, you're like, music, I'm in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we hopped on a bus. It was unknown destination, and they had this warehouse that was booked, and they had multiple artists that played, and they had kind of super cool things going on in there. And I thought, that's a cool idea, right? Yeah, food for thought.
Absolutely.
We should create like a community hall series of some sort, where you hop on a bus, let's say in PA or Saskatoon.
Kind of like a giant pub crawl.
Yeah, and well, not a pub crawl, but you don't know which community hall you're going to end up in,
Yeah,
but you're going to end up in one of these small town community halls, and there's
for a live event.
a band playing.
yeah, good idea,
Yeah.
isn't it? Like,
Yeah. I kind of like the pub crawl idea. Like, you know, in a city you got a pub crawl.
Yep.
But we can take it to the next level and show those city folk how we do it here in rural Saskatchewan, and we'll just do it but to rural communities,
But then
and hit up their local
but then
bars.
there's more travel time than actual music time, because we're not exactly close to anything.
That's true. Yeah. That's a working product.
Yeah,
yeah.
well,
Yeah.
But they could end up, you know, you could just take it and run with it, right? Take somebody's idea and then just make it
Yeah.
your own, right?
Heck yeah.
yeah.
Well, we definitely appreciate you coming on.
Yep.
I think this is a friendship that's going to last for I would say the rest of my life for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm very honored to have met you. Thank you, Mark, for
You're welcome.
connecting us.
Oh,
Yeah,
other Mark,
the
okay.
other Mark at Dog Patch. Thank you, Dog
Yes.
Patch, for the connection here.
Yeah.
And just before I let you go, can you just tell the people who are listening or possibly watching, like, where is the most, like, where should we direct people to give you guys a follow, or stay in the loop with what's going on at your festival?
Is there a website?
Yeah. So our website is cominghomefestival.com. And I guess if people want to remember coming home, because some people say like homecoming, it's like, no, think about coming home, like coming home to your peeps, coming home to yourself. So that's coming home was very significant in the name when it kind of dropped in. So cominghomefestival.com. The event does happen August 9th to the 11th in Amaranth in Ontario. And you know what? Just for fun, most of our followers are on Instagram. So Coming Home Festival, we do have Facebook and Instagram. Just for fun, I'd like to like throw out for anybody who listens to this podcast, 10% off of tickets. Like we do have, because we're not a grand festival, we do have a limited, we like to keep it kind of intimate. So we only have a limited number of tickets. When they purchase their tickets, if they put in home 2024, HOME 2024, and you'll get 10% off your tickets. And if we have any wonderful people who want to make the travel to Ontario and come and check out an awesome hippie festival, come on down.
I love it.
Very cool. Yeah, check the description of this video or in the podcast and for details on the promo.
On Coming Home and the Coming Home promo.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much. We will stay in touch, and thank you to those of you who are watching or tuning in. Appreciate all of you.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da.